Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Almas Vakil, today presenting a case on unsafe year under the guidance of Dr. Tarun Oja sir. I'm presenting a case of patient Boli, a 40-year-old Hindu female residing at Malpura, who is a housewife coming from middle socio-economic class to ENT OPD with chief complaint of left ear discharge since 2 years. Here, the importance of asking name is for identification of the patient, for developing rapport with the patient, maintaining the records of the patient, and helps in identifying the unknown religion. The importance of asking age is in young children, in cases of ear, you're most likely to find CSOM, whereas in puberty, autosclerosis is most commonly seen, and in old age, presbycusis occurs. In females are, are more likely to develop autosclerosis. Address: cases of chronic ear discharges and their complications are more likely to be seen in people residing in slums. These people are more likely to neglect their disease. Those residing near airports and railway tracks are more likely to develop noise-induced hearing loss. This is the modified Kuppuswamy classification that uses three criteria, that is education of the head of family, occupation of the head of family, and total per capita income to score. There are 6 classes according to the scores, that is the upper class, the upper middle class, the lower middle class, and the upper lower class, and the lower class. Religion: consanguineous marriages seen in certain religions leads to higher incidence of congenital sensory neural hearing loss. Occupation: factory workers develop noise-induced hearing loss due to exposure to constant loud noise. History of present illness: the patient was apparently asymptomatic before 2 years when she developed complaint of left ear discharge, which was insidious in onset, scanty, yellowish, mucopurulent, not bloodstained, and foul smelling. It was intermittent. Patient also complained of left ear reduced hearing since 1 year. There are no complaints of tinnitus, ear pain, headache, vertigo, or facial palsy. So, if we think of smell, the foul smelling discharge is seen in attico-antral disease, and in infections, non-foul smelling discharge is usually seen in tubotympanic disease. Consistency of the discharge: mucoid discharge indicates the discharge coming from the middle ear. Color: yellowish discharge means it is purulent. Greenish is seen in Pseudomonas infection. Bloodstained discharge occurs in attico-antral disease, in presence of granulation tissue in the ear, and in cases of malignancy. Watery discharge is seen in CSF otorrhea. Quantity of the discharge: scanty discharge is usually seen in attico-antral disease, whereas moderate to profuse discharge comes in tubotympanic disease. Deafness: gradual onset deafness is a feature of chronic suppurative otitis media. A sudden deafness may occur in fracture of temporal bone as seen in cases of trauma. Fluctuating deafness is seen in Meniere's disease and in perilimb fistula. Deafness associated with vertigo is seen in Meniere's disease. Vertigo: its presence indicates intracranial complication in CSOM cases. With deafness is seen in Meniere's disease, whereas without deafness is seen in vestibular neuronitis. Position: vertigo occurring with position is seen in BPPV, that is benign positional paroxysmal vertigo. Now tinnitus. Bilateral tinnitus is seen in autosclerosis, unilaterally seen in acoustic neuroma. Tinnitus with vertigo occurs in Meniere's disease. Tinnitus with deafness occurs in Meniere's disease. Facial palsy. In an unsafe ear, cholesteatoma causes facial palsy. With no ear discharge history and an intact tympanic membrane, you may suspect Bell's palsy. facial palsy with deafness is seen in acoustic neuroma. Fever is usually seen in acute suppurative otitis media, acute mastoiditis. Headache is a sign of intracranial complication and may indicate development of brain abscess, meningitis, lateral sinus thrombophlebitis, etc. The past history. There was no history of diabetes mellitus, hypertension, ischemic heart disease, tuberculosis, and asthma. No history of blood transfusion, no history of previous surgery, no history of drug allergy or drug intake. Personal history. The patient takes a vegetarian diet with normal appetite, with normal bowel and bladder habits, with an adequate sleep, with no addiction, with non-significant menstrual history. The family history is not significant. Proceeding to general examination. Patient is conscious, cooperative, and well-oriented to time, place, and person. Patient is well-built and well-nourished, with no pallor, icterus, clubbing, cyanosis, lymphadenopathy, or pedal edema seen. Her vitals are blood pressure is 130 by 80 in right brachial artery in sitting position. Pulse rate is 80 per minute, regular in rhythm, rate, and volume in right radial artery. Respiration rate is 20 per minute and is of thoraco-abdominal type. Temperature, she is afebrile on touch. Proceeding to systemic examination, her cardiovascular system examination, her S1 and S2 are normal and no murmur is heard. Respiratory system examination, bilateral air entry is present, is equal, and no additional sounds are heard. Central nervous system examination, higher mental functions are normal. Upper abdominal examination is soft, non-tender, no guarding, no rigidity, and no organomegaly. Significance of general examination. It is done for proper diagnosis and differential diagnosis, for selecting the patient for anesthesia, to decide the type of surgery to be done, to predict the prognosis. Mental status and level of consciousness should be assessed in general, but in particular in specific clinical situations like head injury, hepatic encephalopathy, septic shock, etc. This is the Glasgow Coma Scale to score the consciousness of the patient. Build and nutritional status. Build is a structural organization of underlying skeleton. It is related to age and sex of the patient. In normal adults, the height of the person is equal to the length of arm span. Upper segment from the vertex to the pubic symphysis is equal to lower segment from pubic symphysis to heel. In infants, upper segment is more than the lower segment and height is more than the arm span. Nutrition is a proportion of soft tissue structures, that is the muscles, the soft tissues, the fat, in relation to the bony structure. Protein deficiency causes rough skin, brittle hair, and edema in the feet. Fat deficiency causes cachexia, hollow cheeks, loss of fat in hips, abdomen, and subcutaneous tissues of the elbow. Pallor. It is checked in lower palpebral conjunctiva, mucous membrane of lips and cheeks, nail beds, and palmar creases. Causes for pallor will be massive bleeding, shock, dysphagia, throat carcinomas, nasopharyngeal angiofibroma, iron deficiency anemia seen in Plummer-Vinson syndrome, trophic rhinitis. Icterus. It's due to deposition of bile pigment with excess of it in plasma. It is checked in upper sclera, better seen against white background by asking the patient to look at his feet and clinician pulls the upper eyelid upwards. It can also be checked in nail bed, ear lobule, nasal tip, and on under surface of the tongue. Cyanosis. It is due to rise in level of reduced hemoglobin in the blood, causing blue or purple discoloration in the skin and mucous membrane. A minimum of 5 mg, 5 grams per deciliter of reduced hemoglobin should be present in the circulation to cause cyanosis. Peripheral cyanosis is checked in nail beds, palm and toes, tip of the nose. Tongue is not involved in peripheral cyanosis. Central cyanosis is confirmed by checking in tongue, nail bed, palms, and toes. Cyanosis is seen in foreign body bronchus with lung collapse. Edema. It is the collection of fluid in the interstitial spaces or soft tissues. Edema will be clinically evident only when fluid accumulates more than 5 liters. Pitting on pressure is a cardinal sign of edema. Conditions in ENT with edema will be myxedema, angioneurotic edema, cachexia and malignancy, liver metastatic carcinoma, metastatic lymph nodes presenting on lymphatics. Lymphadenopathy. Cervical lymphadenopathy is usually seen in infections, tuberculosis, carcinomas as secondaries. Pulse. Normal pulse rate is 60 to 100 per minute. Tachycardia means increased pulse rate, that is more than 100 per minute, is seen in anemia, fever, sepsis, severe pain, shock, toxic thyroid. Bradycardia is reduced pulse rate, that is less than 60 per minute. Blood pressure. Hypertension is persistently raised systolic blood pressure more than 140 mmHg or diastolic blood pressure more than 90 mmHg. It is sustained elevation of systemic arterial pressure. It is seen in raised intracranial tension, thyrotoxicosis. Hypotension is diminished blood pressure less than 90 mmHg. It is seen in cachexia of malignancy, tuberculosis, anemia, functional causes. Respiration. Tachypnea, that is respiratory rate more than 20 per minute, is rapid breathing seen in fever, shock, hypoxia, acidosis, tetany, hypohypothyroidism, metastasis, hysteria. Gradual deepening of respiration alternating with short periods of apnea is called Kuhn-Stokes respiration. Fever or rise in temperature. Normal temperature is 36.7 degrees Celsius to 37.5 degrees Celsius. A diurnal variation of 1 degree Celsius is normal. Lowest temperature is seen during morning 2 to 4 a.m., highest being in afternoon. Fever is increase in body temperature more than 1 degree Celsius or more than the maximum rate. Sites for measurement of the temperature are oral, axillary or rectal. Causes for fever: infective, bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic, CSM with intracranial complications, neoplastic, traumatic, thyrotoxicosis, infectious mononucleosis, infections like diphtheria, tonsillitis, Vincent's angina, herpes labialis. Proceeding to local examination, first examining the ear under bull's eye lamp, head and mirror examination. The pinna, the preauricular region, the postauricular region, the postauricular sulcus, and the external auditory canal are normal in both right and left ears. The tympanic membrane of the right ear is normal, whereas the left ear, it is having a posterosuperior retraction in the pars tensa tympanic membrane. This is the figure of tympanic membrane of both the sides. Right ear is a normal tympanic membrane with the normal parts of the tympanic membrane being pars flaccida and the pars tensa. This is the cone of light. This is the umbo and the anterior and posterior malleolar folds. In the left ear, you can see in the figure over here that there is a retraction pocket in the postero-superior quadrant of the tympanic membrane. Facial nerve examinations is normal on both sides. No nystagmus is present on both sides. Pinna. Large pinna is called macrotia. Small is called microtia. Absence of pinna is anotia. Absence of antihelix of pinna is batia. Cauliflower pinna is seen in perichondritis of the ear. Preauricular region is examined for the presence of preauricular sinus or an accessory tragus. Postauricular region, you will find a postoperative scar, or it may be edematous due to mastoiditis. A postoral fistula may be present, or a postauricular enlarged lymph node may be seen. Postauricular sulcus is usually present, and when it is obliterated, it indicates mastoid abscess. Protrusion of pinna is seen in mastoid abscess and in furunculosis of the ear. Tenderness over the ear or the pinna. Now, tenderness over the mastoid may be in cases of mastoiditis. Tenderness over the pinna may be in perichondritis. Tenderness over the tragus while pressing it indicates furunculosis of the anterior wall of the external auditory canal. The external auditory canal may have wax, furunculosis, fungus, that is otomycosis, keratosis oppurans, or it may be otitis externa. Tympanic membrane. Congested tympanic membrane is seen in ASOM. Pale tympanic membrane is seen in OME. Perforation in the tympanic membrane may be single, may be central or marginal, or may be attic. It may be single or multiple. It can be small, large, total or subtotal. Tuning fork test. In this patient, it was done using 512 Hz tuning fork. Rini's test was positive on right side and negative on left side. Weber's test lateralized to the left ear. Absolute bone conduction test was equal in both sides. The nose and paranasal sinuses examination, external examination of nose, no abnormality detected, and skin over the nose is normal. On anterior rhinoscopy, in both the right and left sides, the nasal vestibule, nasal septum, mucosa, nasal floor, cavity, the inferior turbinate, and the meatus, all are normal. Bilateral paranasal sinus tenderness is not present. Oral cavity examination, mouth opening is adequate. Lips, buccal mucosa, anterior two-thirds of tongue, gums, teeth, floor of mouth are normal. Oropharynx, bilateral base of tongue, uvula, soft palate, anterior pillar, posterior pillar, tonsils, posterior pharyngeal wall are normal. Larynx, bilateral vocal cords are mobile. Laryngeal crepitus is present. On examination of neck, no swelling and cervical lymphadenopathy are seen. My provisional diagnosis will be left chronic otitis media with active squamosal disease with moderate conductive hearing loss. Investigations will be pure tone audiometry, bilateral X-ray mastoid LOView, ear pus culture and sensitivity, routine hematological and biochemical investigations, COVID-19 RT-PCR HRCT test, and X-ray chest PA view. Proceeding to the questions and answers. Now, this is the question asked by Dr. Praveen. What is total perforation? When annulus is not present and it is destroyed all around, that leads to total perforation in the ear. Dr. Bevan asks, what are the types of perforation found? See, so in unsafe ear, you have marginal and attic types of perforation. What is Sarday's classification of tympanic membrane retraction? This is asked by Dr. Kanika. So there are 4 stages of retraction of tympanic membrane. 1, slight retraction of TM. 2, retracted TM touches the incus. 3, middle ear atelectasis. And 4 is adhesive otitis media. How are attic retractions classified? That Dr. Bhargavi asks. So there is TOS classification. Grade 1, pars flaccida, not in contact with the neck of malleus. Grade 2, pars flaccida, in contact with the neck of malleus. Grade 3, limited erosion of outer attic wall. And grade 4 is severe erosion of outer attic wall. What is epidermization? This is asked by Dr. Monica. Epidermization is more advanced type of retraction. It refers to replacement of the middle ear mucosa by keratinizing squamous epithelium without retention of keratin debris. What is a retraction pocket? Dr. Arushi asks. So it is invagination of a part of tympanic membrane into the middle ear cavity without retention of keratin debris, but has potential to retain keratin debris and become infected. Dr. Nirvik asks, what is a cholesteatoma histology? It's a benign keratinizing squamous cell cyst made up of a cystic content within it, surrounded by a matrix and then a perimatrix. So Dr. Manan asks, tuning fork, who invented tuning fork? It was invented by Dr. John Shaw. Which is the ossicle most commonly involved in CSOM? Dr. Nishant asks. So it is the long process of incus which most commonly gets involved in CSOM. We conclude our case. Thank you.